Welcome back to another episode of the Boat Babe podcast with your favorite boat babe here, Mary Allison. Oh my gosh, you guys. This has been I want to say this has been like the most I feel like I say this every time. Like balls to the wall, back to back boat project, just like go 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 week. But then I actually think it's been like that since September. So today was the day, though, that I kind of feel like it all totally slowed down. Like, slowed down, like, probably 80%, like to a manageable, level where I can cook. I cooked food. I actually, if you follow me on Instagram, at that boat babe, I posted a picture of nachos, just some nachos. That picture got more attention and more comments than any other picture. And it's so funny. I was like, maybe I should post more pictures of food. Maybe, but you know what? Somebody commented, they were like, that's the best part about the sailing and the boating community is food. And you know what? My comment back was, yeah, you know why? Because once you're on the water and you take a deep breath and you slow down, you finally get to stop and enjoy cooking. You get to enjoy sitting there and having a meal with your family or with your friends or by yourself. You get to take all the beauty in instead of trying to keep up with the Joneses and the hustle and bustle of the go, 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 go of everyday life. And, to be honest, like I have, my coping mechanism for a lot of stress is projects. And I'm not saying that all of my projects are an addiction or a crutch. I'm just saying that a lot of times when you feel like your life is out of control, like what can you control? I can control a really good boat project. But no, deep down under the surface, it's obviously something that I have a passion for and I enjoy. It is the only thing I would want to do every day, but I am really glad to be out of the yard. And today was the day where we put our family's houseboat in the water. I was so excited. I was actually a lot less nervous at the thought of putting this boat in the water versus Rhiannon, our sailboat, because, well, first of all, the sailboat is the hardest boat, like I've said. It's the hardest boat I've ever driven. It is driving a bus. Like, it's just a single screw. It's just, I don't know. It's just you're less restricted, or no, you are more restricted in your ability to maneuver just because you're on one engine. And, when we were putting Dad's houseboat in the water today, it was like, oh, at least we've got twin engines. And it has nothing to do with, oh, if one dies, you still have one. Like, no, I am the queen and pro of emergency anchoring. But when you're in a tight space, and this thing is 56 feet long, so it's a 56-foot Lakeview houseboat. It's a 2000, I think, or 2001. And it's got twin Mercruisers and no bow thruster. So, the idea of not having a bow thruster, especially with heavy winds, yes, it's a bummer. But when you have that second engine, when you've got your twin engines in the back, it's just, oh my gosh, it's so much easier. So, so the houseboat. I am not a houseboater. We grew up on Center Hill Lake, about an hour east of Nashville, and this is where the houseboat came from. We didn't know the couple, we didn't know the family that owned it. We didn't even go to that area of the lake. But I had grown up on houseboats just on the weekends having fun, and all I knew was you can kind of run them up on the rocks and you tie to the trees. Hence probably where I got the idea of my hurricane plan, where I just tie to the trees. But the houseboat life is a little different than what I'm used to. The whole structure itself. I mean, it took me probably a week or two to actually figure out how to turn on like the power of this thing. I'm like, where is the 12-volt panel? Like, why can't I find anything on this? But they're much more simple, or at least this one is, than, I don't know, your textbook Viking, my Endeavor. Like, there's a lot less going on. Like, there's an actual outdoor house air conditioning unit on the stern that you can run in the yard. Like, you don't need, water intake to cool it. So, it was definitely a learning experience, but going from what I'm used to, which has been, pardon my voice, I'm losing my voice from talking all day, but, going from what I'm used to, okay, growing up on lakes and rivers, growing up in the Gulf, center consoles, then going to sailing out, down here in the Gulf, and then out in California, and then, smaller boats out there, then now down to 137-foot Newcastle, to a West Ship, to, a Lazara, then to the Burger, just back and forth to all these boats. A houseboat was never a boat that I thought that I would ever spend any time on, especially in salt water. And so if y'all followed me, we did a bottom job on the boat. We had to I did not sandblast it. We had Barber sandblast it, but I definitely played a big part with Seth and Cody doing the bottom paint. But then it was just, so if you take a houseboat that's been sitting in fresh water for 20 years and you put it in the air, like you truck it, you take it out of the water and it's out, everything, all the hoses and all the seals just start to dry out. What I've learned is when you have a boat on fresh water, it's going to sit there. Most likely it will never have anything done to it except for taken out every couple weeks or a couple months a year. So with the houseboat, she needed a lot of TLC. She needed $22,000 worth of TLC. So, is it more cost effective to have a sailboat or a houseboat? Definitely, I would say a sailboat. But the engines are fine. The bottom paint is great. What else was done? Added some zincs. I think that's about it. Some lay days. Yeah. There's nothing else coming to mind. We have to add an inverter. It's not an inverter boat, so it's a generator boat. When you have your generator on, you can plug your phone in and charge it. You can run the hairdryer. You can run the AC. That's why it's got over 6,000 hours on this Westerby gas generator. But once we put an inverter in, which I wish some little bird would have told the owners about 15 years ago, that thing would have had a whole lot less hours on it. But we're going to put an inverter in, and we were debated on doing a side power bow thruster, but I don't think it needs it. I think it's going to be totally fine. But yeah, so we picked up the boat today, put it in the water. The port engine wasn't happy, but we got that all figured out and going. Nick is my dad's captain on Eagle. He came over to hang out, to help out. We had just a good crowd. There was like a couple friends that were on the boat with us. So we made it like a day experience. It was 80 degrees out. And so we started, lowering the boat in the water, hopping on it, and driving a houseboat is like trying to maneuver a car on ice, where maybe it's slushy ice. So if you think about it, just like our Endeavor, it's got a 6-foot keel. Like, you can't walk sideways. Like, most likely, if you are in the forward position at all, you're going to go forward. Stern, no. Let's not even go talk about reverse and how ridiculous it is. But it's doable. Talk about Eagle. She draws, 4.5, 5 feet? Like, she's not going to walk sideways and slide. When you put your starboard engine in gear, you're going to spin. Put your, port engine in reverse, you're going to spin even more. So the thing about the houseboat, which I suspected and I'd known, I have driven a houseboat once for maybe a couple minutes, when I was young, but is that it doesn't have anything. It's got maybe like a maybe 2-foot draft when your engines are trimmed up. So we got in the water and I started, in reverse. And I mean, we just slid. The boat just, if there's a tiny bit of breeze, it just slides sideways. And that's when I realized, nope, it's go time. We got to go. Like, this is, we're all in. And so I was like, you kind of want to figure it out. You want to play with it a little bit. Not even an opportunity. It was like, get this thing in reverse, away from the docks. We're going to have to haul ass. Like, we got to go. And, it turned out to be totally fine. No issues, no hiccups whatsoever. It's just like driving, like what I would say, a sport fish, or like Lady J, like driving a burger. Like when you're maneuvering in and out of the dock space or out of the marina, most likely you're not even going to touch your wheel. You're just going to, walk out with your engines. And that's how it was today. It was awesome. It was a challenge. It was something I had never experienced before in this sense, just because it was such an interesting vessel. But going into the intercoastal, it was like, okay, this is going to be so much fun this summer. So for all of you sailors out there or wannabe sailboat owners, I am in your pot. Absolutely. Like, I am a diehard sailor. But let me tell you, like, when you've got a boat with gorgeous sunshine coming through the windows all around and 4 bedrooms and 2 baths, it's pretty awesome. And so we're definitely spoiled. I'm looking forward to taking it out to Fort McRae and possibly taking it out to the islands at the Pass and Perdido. But one thing today that was interesting was, so there was somebody in our slip at Pirates Cove, and I'm really glad that I knew to look instead of just going back in the bayou and attempting to figure out docking and with the wind direction and everything. I saw that there was a guy in our slip, so we tried making a few phone calls to get him out of the slip, and eventually he got out. But going back into a small space and actually having to get somewhere, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I watched some YouTube videos about people backing out their houseboats and putting their houseboats in the slip. It's almost like there was absolutely no wind. They could just creep and crawl as slow as possible to get the boat there. But when you actually have to get your boat from point A to point B through a skinny space with wind coming at you, like, you have to just commit with these things. Because one thing I noticed is when you're driving, like you're driving up top and you're forward, you've got 50 feet behind you. And so you're going and you're like, am I going straight? I think I'm going sideways now. And like, I looked back and I'm like, no, it looks like I'm going straight. But when I look forward, I don't think I'm going straight. Like, the boat starts to twist on you and you think you want to steer, but you don't really have steering because there's no rudders. So then you're like, oh, wait, I'm back to walking my engines, but I'm already like going 9-10 knots. Like, this is strange. And so we got back in the bayou, and thank God the wind gods blessed us and the wind died. And it turns out it was great. We were able to do this like basically 360 and nose up. I just put the starboard bow as close to the dock as I could at probably like a 30-degree angle, and tie off, on the forward cleat, and then trying to back down without having rudders without having any draft, there's nothing to grip the water. It was difficult. Like the stern did not want to go to the dock. But what I realized was that I should have spun my wheel. Let me think about this. Okay, if I was going to go in reverse, port side reverse, I should have spun my wheel towards the dock, so my props would be towards the dock, and just bumped it in reverse, if I'm saying that correctly. I think that would have helped, but it was something I wasn't used to, because I've usually, when you're docking, you just keep your rudder angle, centered. But anyway, it was a great day. If you're on the lookout for a houseboat, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, the smaller the better, unless you have a big space. But it's really hard to find smaller houseboats now. You can find them 80, 90, 100 foot all day, but finding a 50 to 60 foot houseboat's really tough, because people want a bigger boat. They want that space. They want it for their friends. They want a place to party, but maneuvering it is not the easiest in the world. So that is all I really have to say about houseboat living so far. I'm looking forward to adding to the story throughout the summer. I'm looking forward to being able to beach it. I've got to, I don't like taking boats out without anchors. It didn't have an anchor today. That was like a total boat fail on my part if we did have any issues. But I might have to just overrule my dad and take over the anchor situation and get a mantis or a spade for the bow. But my gosh, there's nowhere to put it. It's not on this boat. There's really not. So I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do. But we do need, Dad wants to get spud poles. Do y'all know what spud poles are? So have you ever seen a barge and they're doing dredging, or they're doing some work, or maybe they're putting in a dock, and at all four corners there's poles. It's just like what you would put on an RV, or if you see a electrical truck on the side of the road with the lift, the bucket truck. He wants to put spud poles on this thing. I don't really see that happening. I don't see that being cost effective at all. And I'm not exactly sure how that would work. So I'm just going to go ahead and be on the lookout for some anchors and places to put them, because we're definitely going to need one or two in the stern if we're going to be beaching this thing and hanging out all summer. So that is our plan. Talking about sailboat projects, Rhiannon is in the slip. She's looking fabulous. We've had so many awesome compliments. I'm bummed because I matched my hull to Eagle's hull, and Eagle is not coming back. So whenever Eagle goes out, I'm going to have to go out at least to get a picture, just to say we match. But so the hull looks fabulous. I just got the name in. I just ordered a vinyl from, it's not DIY lettering or lettering.com. It's one of those. But I got the name, and I got it in metallic, so it matches the boot stripe. And call me crazy, but my location where we live, I put the moon. I didn't want to put anything else. So I'm from the moon, and I'm looking for a designer, or I wish I knew somebody who was a good artist. I need a tattoo artist probably, just to I want a female silhouette. I don't know how to explain this. I want the silhouette of a woman basically coming out of the water, but I only want her stomach and her chest and her neck and her face and her hair. So I'm not exactly sure what that's going to look like, but I want to get that. I was thinking about getting it painted on the boat, but right now I'm fine with a vinyl. So I'm trying to get that as a vinyl, but I haven't sketched it out yet. I haven't seen anything yet. I've been looking for like inspiration on Pinterest, and it just hasn't gone anywhere. But I want that on my bow on both sides. So that's the next thing I want to do. But right now I'm in the middle of wet sanding. I just wet sanded the boat with Cody with 1500 while Seth was downstairs installing a new, what was it? Did we get a 16,000 BTU Marinair air conditioning unit. The one in the aft is 11,000. Yeah. That thing blows like a tornado downstairs. I probably made a mistake and got it too big, but it's awesome. And the one in the fee berth, we're going to replace with, I guess, a 9,000, but I still think that's almost going to be too much. Those little units are awesome. So far, I am a huge fan of Marinair air conditioning units. If you are in the market to replace your air conditioning, definitely go check it out. Marin Air with an E. Mairn. Is that right? Marin? Aire? Marinair. And I think the recording even says Marine Air because the recording doesn't know how to say it. But when I talk to a person on the phone, it's Marinair. So we did that. But so I'm almost done wet sanding, and then we're going to start just buffing it out, compounding it, buffing out the paint where the dew settled on it, when we sprayed, and then waxing it. And then the next thing after that is putting all the little, I don't even know, snaps. I hate snaps. The 3 things I hate: dealing with the damn hose, cleats, and snaps. You always kick a cleat. You always get the hose kinked, and the freaking snaps kill your hands. But we need to put the curtains back on. I need the curtains back on. I need my sunroom back on the sailboat. So once we get the curtains, we will put the curtains on after I do one more coat of varnish. Like the paint, I laid a layer of all wood, the most gorgeous thin layer, and I laid it when the dew settled on it. So I've just got to sand it down. I'm going to get 600 and sand it 600 or 400 and sand it down just by hand, and then lay another layer of all wood, and it's going to be perfect. I'll put the curtains back on, and then I'll be able to roll the non-skid with Kiwi grip. I am really looking forward to that project. I feel like that is going to be one of those like satisfying projects where you're like, wow, look at that. Like one of those where when you're done, your boat looks brand new. So I'm super excited about that. And then the second to last thing is I can't wait to get my heat gun and try to get this varnish off because I've sanded it with 80 grit and I can't, it's just too much. I'm done. So I'm just going to get not the all wood varnish. That's fine. But on my cap rail and a couple other spots on the handrails, I used Cetal, not Simcoe. Cetal. I really like it, but I didn't keep up with it. And so I need to start over and then get a game plan for the teak. So I'm actually looking forward to that being stripped because that gives you the same feeling as like what I was saying about the Kiwi grip. Like I can't wait to look at my wood and be like, oh my gosh, it's all stripped. It looks so good. And then, lastly, caulking. I have to recalk everything. I have no caulk on my boat right now. It is raining down my walls. I am so over it. It is just one of those situations where I'm like, oh, yeah, that bolt's leaking. Oh, okay. Oh, look at the joint right there. Yeah, that's leaking. So, okay. Like I will deal with the leaks till the day I die. But what is preventing them is caulking around everything again. So that'll come last. But then guess what? I'll start over with something new because actually I don't have a stove right now because I took out the propane. So that'll be coming in the near future. I'm looking forward to more projects downstairs. The hot water heater's in, which is awesome. We got a queen size bed for the aft stateroom because we took the wall out in the back. I say we took a wall out. We took the wall and the shelf out and built a shiplap wall back. And so it looks great. It looks original. We kept the character of the boat. And what else? Oh, the air conditioning unit going in. I mean, we've done some awesome boat projects this summer, spring. No. When did we do them? All winter, fall. I feel like we've been doing it forever. But anyway, I'm becoming delusional, out of exhaustion and tired. I can't wait to be sharing an anchorage, like with people floating where I'm not tired all the time and we're caught up on sleep. But I will be continuing boat projects probably for the rest of my life. So I'll continue to be sharing inspiration, sharing, I don't know, tips and tricks and stuff to make your boating life easier, because that's what I love to do. And I hope that you do too. So I love y'all so much. Please give this podcast 5 stars if you would like. Share it with your friends. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram at thatboatbabe. And I love you so much. And I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will talk to y'all next week. Okay, bye.